Okay. Hello and welcome to today's session, whichever side of the world you're watching and hearing me from. I want to welcome you to this analysis session. We can call it a catch-up session. So today is Monday, 17th of February 2025, and the markets have behaved what we had initially planned out for it to happen. And this is what I'm trying to say. So for today, we had holidays. It was President's something in the United States of America, also in Canada, whereby we did have a holiday. Now, if you look at the charts, starting off by gold. So this is what we were anticipating for it to happen. Okay. And this can take me to yesterday's so this was the analysis session we had yesterday, whereby we were analyzing gold, and then we did draw our levels moving back to this region down here. So looking at
Whereby
gold this week, let me mute myself. So we were anticipating prices to come back to a Fibonacci level, the golden ratio between 61.8 and 50.0. And if you look at the charts currently at the moment, so we did have so this was the setup we did look at. This one here, where we were anticipating prices to come back to this region of inefficiencies here, and stop loss just above that region, and take profit. We had identified these lows currently at the moment in time. And if you can look at prices did come back to this region here. Now moving forward, I would want to see prices continuing with that same pattern. I would want to look at how prices will react first to 2906, because there's usually a very high tendency for gold to come grab liquidity. Tuseme hawa, there's a very high likelihood for prices to come grab liquidity. If we get a change of character around this region here, then further continuations to the downside. But currently, at the moment in time, the setup is now playing itself in a very, very nice manner. We are not anticipating a lot of activities. We are not anticipating a lot of activities in the wiki. Okay. Um, nimepotea mahali nilikuwa. Anyway, moving on to the analysis session. Now, this is gold. We are anticipating further bearish momentum in terms of gold, whereby we did look at the data yesterday. Commitment of traders, we have seen institutions have started offloading a lot of positions on gold. Looking at price action currently at the moment, for the past how many hours is this? Now, this is price action. This is purely price action, okay? So for the past 15 hours, prices has just been consolidating. What do you mean by consolidating? Prices are just printing side by side, side by side. Like there's no sense of direction in the marketplace. You can see here there are no definitive moves that the market is currently making here. Ever since 7 a.m. in the morning, we have just had prices consolidating in this sort of channel here. Now, I did try to take a position today earlier. I can't even remember where it was, because there is a lot of candlesticks printing side by side. Now, whenever you have candlesticks printing side by side, this is a good opportunity for you to stay out of the markets. Okay. I was asked by one of my students, what are we supposed to do today with gold? Now, the most ideal thing for us to do whenever you see price action in such a manner is identify highs and lows in the marketplace. So let's say, for example, this was the most recent high that was created, this was the most recent low. We could have used this one because this one would have made much more sense for this price action. So whenever price is in between here, one thing I've noticed as a result of experience for my few years that I've been trading in the financial markets, whenever price is in between highs and lows, this range here is what we call a no trade range. I think I need to write it down so that people do not forget, whereby this is a no, capital N, no, it's supposed to be caps. No trade range. Remember, as forex traders, we want to react to prices. Okay, so you want to react to prices whereby there's a high probability that there are going to be buyers involved and sellers involved. Yeah, whenever you buy an asset, you want to see it moving to the upper side. Whenever you sell, you want to see it moving to the downside. But remember, institutions are not going to be purchasing and selling each and every time. So There are certain times whereby the market is going to be ranging. Now, people here lost a lot of money today, especially for beginners. Why? Because if you look at it on a lower time frame, this is where forex becomes an art in its own self. Yeah. Look at this. Someone could say, okay, prices are selling. I need to be selling. The moment you sell, prices buy. So people see green candlesticks. Whenever there is more green candlesticks, we need to be buying. And then you buy here, it sells. You sell here, it buys. You buy here, it sells. And then right now, people are saying forex is a scam. Yeah, it is a scam if you don't know what you're doing. Now, the best opportunities are those that you wait for, you plan out for, and you execute them. So that there is an element of probability to them. Okay, remember what you are trying to do is execute on probabilities that have an edge to it. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. Whenever you execute on a market, ask yourself, like, if this was to happen next week, can I do the same thing over again? Okay, so how do you avoid this? Identify highs and lows whenever you're looking at a price chart. Okay, whenever you're looking at a chart of forex, just identify highs and lows. Hizi vitu zingine tunaweza toa. Just identify highs and lows and then mark it. Whenever price breaks above this region, now you can either use a sell limit or a buy stop depending on your strategy. But for me personally, I would want to execute sells tomorrow if the market comes to this region around 2904. Remember, I did mention 2900 was a psychological level in yesterday's analysis session. Remember this session that we had here yesterday? I did talk about 2900 being a psychological level. What do you mean by a psychological level? Remember, bankers are humans, eh? Bankers are humans. Meaning these people, they get tired with decimal points. It's easier for a banker to trade like $2,900 an ounce compared to $2,897.69 an ounce. Does it make sense? Okay. So prices usually gravitates to regions. Huh? It doesn't have to be pinpoint 2,900, but the region about around $2,900 an ounce is usually very interesting for institutions to execute their orders from. Now, looking at price action, if I was to go to the weekly time frame, I like how the weekly candlestick has started. You see how it opened? It has gone and made a high. Now I'm asking myself, what are the chances? What are the probabilities that before these 4 days, 3 hours elapse, that this candlestick might come back down to this region here? Why this region? Because we had identified this could act as a potential price magnet for prices to come back down to $2,855 an ounce. Okay? So you're looking at potential scenarios. Remember, prices moves from regions to regions, pesa utafuta pesa. So unajiambia okay, mahali penye tuko pesa inaweza tafuta pesa zingine ikikuwa wapi? That's forex trading, understanding how money moves essentially. Okay, so the most recent point I would want to look at price is this region here, 2855.89, and I want to see there's a high possibility that we might get to this region even quicker and potentially even move down to, let's say, for example, so that would have been TP1, TP2. I would have it at 2807, which is going to be almost 1,000 pips from this region. Now remember, if prices moves from 2,900, the most likely destination 2,800. We'll want to see how prices will react to 2,800, meaning this trade I can extend it to this point here. Now I'm not a swing trader, but this is going to be a very good 1,000 pips for me. It's a lot of money. I feel like I'm going to buy a Bugatti next week. So anyway, jokes aside, back to serious business. Forex Factoria. For those who are early birds, tomorrow 6:30 a.m. Australian dollars cash rate. We are going to anticipate this one. So there's a very high possibility tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. Okay, 3:30 pale over. I'm going to look at these charts. Ask myself, okay, what can I? Usually Australian dollar news releases are very faithful, if you know what I mean. Now, I would advise for if you're going to watch this video in time, kindly look at this news release when it's going to be released at exactly 6:30. Most of the time it's usually earlier, but this time because of the daylight and blah 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 yada yada yada, we are going to receive it at an early time at 6:30 a.m. So tomorrow is going to be very active, whereby we are going to wait on Australian dollars, and then during New York session we are going to look at CPI for the Canada dollar. I usually have very good track record with CPI for Canada. It usually favors me a lot, and I don't want to jinx myself tomorrow, but the probabilities be in our favor. Okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. Now looking at AUDUSD. Remember New Zealand dollar, we are not going to look at it right now. Now, I really like what's happening currently at the moment. I was anticipating a candlestick of this nature, of which we might see this candlestick print out tomorrow when the news is going to be released. But look at how price action has started today. Look at how these candlesticks are rejecting these highs. Okay, we made a high on Friday. This was around 5 p.m. in the evening. Prices closed around this region. So today, when the markets did open up, today's a Monday. Don't forget that. Look at how price action did play out. So we had this massive bullish candlestick, and then what happened? There are no candlesticks which are closing above this high. Okay, and before the day closes, so the day has at least for us to go to the daily time frame. So the daily candlestick has 2 hours 49 minutes remaining. Now the same thing is playing out. You see these candlesticks. Whenever you see candlesticks that don't have wicks to the bottom side, this is how candlesticks usually are. A normal candlesticks usually has a high, an opening price, a high, low, and then finally a closing price. Okay, but whenever you see price action whereby the candlesticks don't have any wicks to the bottom side, it's just a body, then this could act as a potential price magnet for price to come back down to that region. And as you can see, we have less than 2 hours, but today has already elapsed. Moving tomorrow, I might anticipate Kenyan timing. We might anticipate the pricing coming back to this region here, and then a further collapse to the downside. So I want to see a candlestick of this nature, especially if we close below this opening price. So this is where prices did open. Okay, if we get a candlestick tomorrow, if tomorrow's candlestick is going to close below, let me just have it as a zone. So this was the opening price at 0.63476. If I get a candlestick of this nature closing below this region here, so I can do this. Acha niweke hapa. Chaba. If I get a candlestick of this nature, then this will give me further confidence of selling this thing to kingdom bottom. Okay. This is going to be Australian dollar. Why? Because we are anticipating negative news from them tomorrow 6:30. So for early birds kesho, before watoto waende shule, before brush kiatu pale hivyo, ensure that you have looked at the Australian dollar. Look at how the numbers are going to come out, and also I'll be paying close attention to the statement, and later on we are going to have a conference. Okay, just like the United States, which usually has the press FOMC statement, and then we do have a conference afterwards. We are going to anticipate the same thing. Now I'm not going to look at climate change. I did talk about that yesterday, but CPI for Canada, Canada. So we are anticipating positive or negative numbers? We are anticipating positive numbers. CPI did come out. How did CPI come out? CPI came out positive for the United States dollar. Now, US and Canada are somehow positively correlated. Now, it doesn't mean that if CPI comes out positive for the United States, it means that Canada is also going to come out positive. But ni majirani. Jirani akinunua kagari pale hivyo, pia wewe unaweza taka kununua kagari pale, si ndio? Juu ukiona jirani yako naye, mbona usikue naye na mnaishi na mnaenda kazi moja, technically speaking. So moving on, tomorrow is going to be very active. Okay, so I would want to look at anything that has the Australian dollar to it and the Canadian dollar. So in the morning, as I've mentioned, I'm going to look at AUD/USD. And then in the evening during New York session, I'm going to look at USD Canadian dollar. Now within the day, I want to monitor this faithful baby of mine. This is one of the, it's a love hate relationship. Huu ni ex mwenye mwezi wa chana. Hii ni mapenzi ya dhati. I don't know why, sijui nitaisema aje. Huyu jamaa amenitoa machozi, pia mimi nimemtoa machozi, tumetoana machozi, lakini ndo hao sisi pale hivyo tunaangaliananga kila siku. You see, atakaa ananikoseanga wakati ingine, lakini unajua bado ni mama, and tunaelewana. you develop a love hate relationship for these things because you cannot fight it, si ndio? Hamwezi pigana juu mkipigana mtakuwa mnaharibu maneno kila siku, si ndio? So you look for ways of making it work. Unapembeleza yeye, unamgoja akuje, unamwacha ende kidogo, alafu unangoja akuje. So kesho tunataka kungoja pricing hapi $2,906 an ounce, and then we shall anticipate for a further meltdown. But guarantee you, trust you me, I'm not a prophet, but before the weekends 2855 tutakaribia, hatuwezi gonga hapa labda, but I want to see prices at least starting to make a significant move to the bottom side, okay? At least a significant move to the lower side, because if you look at it from the weekly perspective, bullish momentum is currently losing a lot of traction. Like whatever was happening in the previous weeks is no longer having that same momentum. If you look at Monday open, if I was to go to the H4 time frame, this is actually the first Monday which behaved at least normal. What do I mean by this? Look at this Monday. It opened kisirani, boof, to the upper side. This one rallied to the downside very aggressively. This one also, boom, up. This one we had a bit of mixed reactions. This one also we rally to the bottom side. Now, what I'm trying to point out is, look at this Monday. This was Monday. This was supposed to be Monday. I'm looking at the H4. So this Monday, look at this Monday also. So if you look at the previous Mondays, they were opening very, very aggressively. Yeah. So this is the first Monday actually that we have had that sort of, look at last week Monday. This was last week Monday. This is not normal. It is not normal. Whereby Monday just opens out of the gate and then we have volatility. No, 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 no. Monday we anticipate price action such as this. This is much more clearer, much more like we can say that okay, now we are going back to how we used to trade. So meaning tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day for us in the financial marketplace because if the weekly candlestick has to start moving, it will start tomorrow. Okay? Very keen. If you're looking at it on a weekly perspective, if the weekly candlestick will start moving towards the downside, there's a high probability it will start what? Tomorrow. So we shall look at it tomorrow, and then we shall look at how prices are going to react. Remember, for us traders, we are reacting to price. Yeah, we can be planning for selling, and then you get all of a sudden everything changes. Yeah, you get a war in Middle East or somewhere, like you get this Putin is dead or something. Forgive the forget the last part, eh? But anything can happen in the financial marketplace, and then you need to have the capability to change your bias in an instant. Huh? That's part of being a forex trader. Okay, you need to be able to adapt to the various. The forex marketplace is a dynamic place whereby it changes constantly. Yeah, so you need to have the capability to be able to adapt to those changes. So this is going to conclude for the catch up or the analysis session for Monday, 17th February 2025. So I'm going to take a bit of questions. If you have any inquiry, this is the time. Kindly let me have them.